Hey guys, Q here with part two of my story and ending explained for The Evil Within. I am playing on the PlayStation 4. We were talking about Leslie at the end of the last one. Leslie's mind was not only was because it was unique. I don't know if anyone else caught on to this, but throughout the game, Leslie was actually speaking things into existence. I do not believe it was completely Ruben Victorano. It was not completely Ruvik controlling. Leslie's mind could also control uh, the environment, the machine. Throughout the game, Leslie says things like, "We have to go, we have to go, we have to go," and at that point, we have to go. Now, when Leslie changes, shit hits the fan. When Leslie is no longer saying we have to go, when Leslie says he found us, he found us, he found us, notice shit goes down. And there's always other stuff like that. He says, "Kick the door, kick the door, kick the door." Getting shot or get hurt, get hurt, get hurt, and all of a sudden another enemy shows up and someone gets hurt. Uh, so Leslie's mind, not consciously, was also controlling the simulation, which is another reason why Ruvik wanted it, because he realized that Leslie's mind was influencing the simulation more so than Castellanos and Kidman and Joseph, how and Tatiana for that matter, and yet Leslie's mind not was empty, was empty enough, was not strong enough to where Ruvik could take it over with his own consciousness. Ruvik just wanted out of the simulation, and that was his entire goal. Now, toward the end, what you see is finally at one point, Leslie approaches Ruvik, and Ruvik places his hand on Leslie's head. I believe at that point, Ruvik, by touching Leslie, transferred his consciousness into Leslie's body, and that is what happened at that very point. Now, why is Ruvik still in the game at that point? I don't feel he is. Okay, and this is my theory for the ending. When Ruvik placed his hand on Leslie's head, he transferred his consciousness into Leslie's mind in the real world. Now, obviously, everyone has their own brain, but Ruvik's brain was in the center of the machine. When Ruvik transferred his consciousness into Leslie's mind, um, Leslie's consciousness, the Leslie's consciousness went into Ruvik's brain in the center of the machine, and hence became the mainframe and the main controller of the simulation. Now, at that point, as you know, the simulation takes a very weird turn. I keep saying simulation, although it's more of kind of a dream state. Um, uh, it takes a very weird turn. The monster and the environment just goes crazy. I believe that is a reflection of Leslie's mind, because Leslie's mind was not a conscious decision to create architecture and structure and planning and plotting, such as buildings as that. This it was just a mush of information and craziness. And the final monster you are fighting is actually Leslie. It is in Leslie's mind. It is Leslie's manifestation. Now, Leslie is unable to manifest conscious thoughts in the way that Ruvik was, or obviously Castellanos or anyone else was. So it just went crazy. Leslie being scared the whole time during the transfer, their minds essentially kind of got melded. So Leslie's crazy internal mind, as he would say, would go back and forth between docile, volatile, and scared, and that kind of all through the emotions was represented in the world. Now that final battle, I believe, was Leslie's mind. And that is who you are fighting in the mind. It is not Ruvik, it is not evil, it is Leslie taking everything in the simulation that Ruvik had created and perverting it even more, mixing everything around: the barbed wire, the truck from other chapters, the main enemy, and even Ruvik's image, the image that since he no longer had a physical body, Ruvik used his own body through his imagination. Leslie became into Ruvik's mind, Ruben Victorano's mind, and in that way, uh, was represented in Ruvik's body as well. In the final battle, you are killing essentially Leslie's mind, which was not necessarily evil, but simply confused and crazy, looking for objective, scared and angry at the same time. Now, when Castellano partially gets out of the simulation, he gets out and he finally takes the brain out of the center and smashes it. Okay? He takes the brain out of the center and smashes it. It may have been Ruben Victorano's brain, but it was Leslie's consciousness in that mind. Okay, and when they finally get out of the simulation, and Castellanos looks over, or not, he doesn't look over, but we see on the camera that Leslie is no longer in his tub. Ruvik successfully got out. He got into Leslie's brain, and because he understand the workings of the machine, now had a body and was able to walk out consciously. At the very end, when you see Castellanos leaving the hospital, you see Leslie walking away in the distance. That is Ruvik's mind in Leslie's body. Now, lastly, regarding Kidman and the whoever she was with, she knew what Ruvik wanted, that they wanted out. Now, if they wanted to just stop Ruvik from getting out of the machine, they would have just destroyed the machine. They knew where it was. Why did she want to go in, and what did she want to do? She wanted to access and control Ruvik's mind. She wanted to kill Ruvik's simulation representation, but still utilize and keep his brilliant mind and all the data he had gathered. Now, at the end, obviously, when everyone wakes up, she realizes they failed, and of course they're shutting down the machine. Now, she did feel for Castellanos. She screwed him over. I am very convinced she killed his son. She started that fire. If you remember, throughout his diary entries, uh, him and his wife started realizing that it was no accident. Someone had set that on fire, and I believe it was Kidman and her in his set. I believe that's all for the explanation and theories. The rest is pretty obvious in the game. Ruben Victorano, the family is Ruvik. Um, Obviously, there was the point, and the doctor said we got to get out. He jacked him up, and he was typing and stuff, and he was trying to get them out of the simulation. Uh, the other doctor, gosh, I wish I could remember his name, knew what was going on, knew they had to get out, and of course, later was dealt with, just as Tatiana was dealt with. Um, and dealt with, and why she was deleted. Now, there were also some of the security guards in the simulation. I believe, especially during the last chapter, the guy talking to you through one of these doors, actually. Through several of these doors. In the last one, I believe it was essentially this door with a different hallway. It was a security officer in there who had been in there for a while. He was one of the first conscious minds, not patients, not mental patients, but one of the first conscious minds that Ruben, before he became part of the world, Ruben had inserted in the world to experiment on. And further explanation with each of the enemies, the major enemies. Each one of those enemies represents a part in Ruben Victorano's mind and part of his personality, because he was now the hard drive. He was now the computing processor for the simulation. It was his mind that manifested most of what we see. The enemies, his uh, his personalities, and the things he felt strongly about, which you get hints through documents in the archive and all that kind of stuff. That is my theory for story and ending of the Evil Within. I feel the biggest thing that people did not pick up on is that Uh, fucking Ruben Victorano is Ruvik. And he was, his sister had been killed and his parents died in a car crash. There we go. Yeah, several residents unaccounted for. Wait, what did that say? Valermo Jimenez, was that it maybe? Dr. Jimenez, that was his name. So, guys, I hope you appreciated this. If you have any if you have any problems with this, I know it was kind of rambly, kind of, kind of going, but like I said, I kind of just do this as a hobby. Let me know. I believe this is really the most convincing theory, that's backed up by all the facts. The wishy-washy, the the least supported is the Kidman's role. That is really just a theory, but the rest of it is pretty much. I'm convinced is pretty much fact. Um, uh, and I'm really interested to think about how why Kidman said I had to do this to you, and I wish I didn't have to do this to you, to Detective Castellanos. Guys, I'm gonna stop the video here. Let me know if you have any if you can find any holes in my theories. I would definitely love to know that. Like I said before, I did this video because I've seen a lot of explained videos and all that kind of stuff. None of them held up in a lot of ways. So some theories did, and some did not, such as the monsters being different parts of Ruvik's personality, but not a single person mentioned that Ruben Victorano was Ruvik. There was a lot of theory about who the family is. I think it's very obvious. Um, Also, I just do this as a hobby. I don't have any editing software. If anyone wants to take these videos, throw some images, maybe some clips on top of them, and send it back to me, I will repost. I will download and repost. Hit me up in the YouTube message box. Uh, I will. I will download and repost it with credits to you on anything. Um, I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully this could clear some things up for you. This is the Strategic Gamer. I hope it helps.